Today's video is going to show you how to make a cute little aviator hat. Now this can be made from preemie size all the way up to adult size. I'll show you how to adjust the pattern. Now it's going to be a mini tutorial because I already have a pattern on how to make the basic beanie. So you guys will need to go to that video first and make the basic beanie, and then come back to this video to show you how to make the flap. I know that is a bit of a pain because you have to go and watch another video, but it's exactly the same to make this beanie adjustable in any size, and then we learn how to add the ear flaps and the front flap on. And this is actually sewn down with the buttons. You could make it so that you can unbutton this part here, but I don't think the child will be able to see where it's going once it's unbuttoned because it will come down in front of their face. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you think it's cute. I think it's absolutely adorable. So once we have our beanie finished, this beanie is probably going to fit a 2 or a 3-year-old. Doesn't matter what size beanie you've got, it can be newborn or preemie or all the way up to an adult size. The formula is kind of the same. So fold your hat flat, so fold it down. And we want to work, this is going to be for the ear flaps first. We are going to be working into the middle to put our ear flaps on. So we're going to divide this into 3. You can count the stitches if you like, or you can just eyeball it. And we are going to work in the middle third of the blanket, of the beanie. So we're going to be working in here. So you can grab some stitch markers. You can use just an odd piece of thread and put your stitch marker there, and then another one here. And then what we're going to do is flip the beanie over and do the same on this side, exactly where our other stitch markers are on this side of the beanie, because we want them to be even. Now if you have a seam, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like a seam here where we've chained up when we've made our beanie. You want that to be the back of the beanie. So when you fold it down, the seam is on one of these edges here. Okay, so I have my stitch markers in. Mine are just nappy pins, as you can tell. And this takes up 8 stitches across here. So you want to make sure you have 8 stitches on the other side as well. Otherwise they're going to be 2 different sizes. So grabbing your hook that we use to make our beanie and your yarn, we work on the outside of the beanie, and you want to attach your yarn where your first stitch marker is here. So you've got to remember that you're working in this little space here, not when you open it out, not in that humongous gap there, because that's not going to work. So you're working in little spaces here. So attaching your yarn, and you can take this stitch marker out if you like. So attach your yarn, so you just grab your yarn like this, make a loop at the top, put it onto your hook, and then pull it through the stitch. And now we want to do a chain 1, and that will secure this. Pull down the short piece at the back, and that will secure your yarn down into your hat there. Now we're going to, now if you used half double crochet to make your beanie, use half double crochet to make this part as well. And you know, if you use single crochet, use single crochet, double crochet, so on. Because you want it all to match, you don't want it all to be different. So I used half double crochet, so I need to make a chain. And then I'm actually going to half double crochet into this same space, just on this first stitch. And then I'm going to half double crochet across until I get to my stitch marker. So you just go across until you reach yours. So I've done that one. I just need to do one more, so I'm going to take this stitch marker out. And this is my last stitch. And I'm going to chain 2. Turn my work. Now we have the start of our ear flap. I'm going to go into the second stitch because this was our first stitch. So get missing that one, going into that one. And then we're just going to work all the way across. Now I started with 1, 2, try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches. So I need 8 stitches on this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're going to have however many you have, of course. Chain 2. Now if you're using a single crochet, you only want to do a chain 1. Or a chain 3 if you're using double crochet. So missing the first stitch, going into the next one. And we're going to repeat this row until our ear flaps are long enough. You can make them as long as you like. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to make sure we go into that last stitch. So there's actually a stitch here. See how that bit sticks out? That means we've got a stitch there. So we have to actually crochet into the chain. So keep going until it's long enough. So there we go. It's a think about 2 inches long. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. But don't forget, this will have another row. We're going to crochet along the brim of the beanie and then around the ear flap. So it will make it 1 stitch wider on each side as well. So finish off on this side when you've got it long enough, and then attach the yarn on the other side and repeat like we just did here. Okay, so making sure both of your sides are the same length. What we're going to do, and I haven't cut off my yarn yet that's attached to the bottom of this ear flap. What we are going to do now is crochet around all the way around the edges of the beanie. So making sure we're on the outside of the hat. And if you want, and I'm going to place a stitch marker there so we know when we get back to where we started. So working along the side of our ear flap, just going to put 1 stitch in the gaps around our beanie here. Sorry, I've put that in the wrong place. Work it into all of our vacant stitches, and if you can't find a stitch, just sort of jam it in there. And you want to work this all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. And when we get back to where we started, just got to put in another stitch. we want to slip stitch to that very first stitch that we made, cutting off our yarn. And pulling out. We now have our beanie with our ear flaps. Isn't that cute? And then what we want to do now is sew in our ends. So now we want to add the front flap. Now my seam is at the back, so we want that to be the back. So the bit that doesn't have the seam, this is where we're going to start. And what we want to do, now see where the ear flap finishes off here, and on the other side here, we're going to join our yarn in here and then crochet across. So of course, using the same yarn and or same thickness of yarn, you can change colours if you like, and the same crochet hook that we use to make our hat, I am going to chain up 2 because I'm using a half double crochet, and then I'm going to go across, and I'm working over my tail so I don't have to sew that one in later. One less thing to sew in, which is good. And we're just going across. Oops. And I'm actually about to run out of yarn, so I just need to join in my new colour. Oh, sorry, my new piece of wool. Same colour. So we're just going to go up to where the ear flap finishes, so I've got 2 more stitches to go. Okay, so see where we stopped there. When that bit goes up, we've just stopped, and now we want to, do I have another stitch? I actually have another stitch to go in there, sorry. In there, and now we want to chain 2 if we've used the half double crochet. Turn our work around, and now going across. Now we've missed the first one because that's chain is our first stitch, going into the second one. Sometimes I drop stitches because I'm actually working over my camera, and it's a really awkward way to sit. It's not a natural way to crochet. So if that's why you're wondering why I drop stitches, that's why. But good thing with crocheting, doesn't matter because we just pick it back up. Not like knitting when your heart skips a beat and you go, oh no. Grab it before it unravels. Okay, so work across to that side, and don't forget going into your last stitch. Sometimes I find these ones little buggers to get. Okay, and chaining 2. We are just going to work back and forth across this until it is long enough for our front flap. When we have our flap long enough, finish off, and we just want to join the yarn just down here where it joins the hat, the flap joins the hat, We're going to work just a round of crochet around there just to make it nice and even. And when we join our yarn, make sure the outside of the hat is facing you. So just where the two flaps meet there. Wait a minute. I need to go up the other side, don't I? Because I'm going to work this way. So going into there. Otherwise I'll be working backwards and that's not going to work. Okay, so just doing a chain one to secure. And chain two, because I'm doing a half double crochet. And then just working a row around the outside of our front flap. My hands are cold and not working properly. So just work around there, and as we get to the corner, just put 3 in the corner there, and that will make it sit flat. And the last step that we need to do is find some buttons and sew them on. Now you can sew the flap shut because it's not going to function when it's down, so you can sew the button straight onto the top like that. You don't have to make buttonholes or anything. So we'll do that now and we'll come back. And there we go, we've got our finished hat, all the buttons sewn on.